So law of taxation, regarding law of taxation, we were discussing about basic elements. Today I'll be just briefly telling you how this income tax works. What is this Income Tax Act all about? Practically speaking, what this is and how this works. If this picture sits in your mind, if this picture sits in your brains, 100% I'm sure the law of taxation is going to be very easy for you. As such, if I ask what is tax or what is income tax, every layman will tell, every person, yaratra kelidru kuda onde answer heltare enanta, taxes paid on income earned. Taxes paid on income earned by a person. A basic layman definition of income tax is a tax paid. Income tax is a tax paid on income earned by a person. So I earn a salary, I'll pay the income tax. A businessman earns profit, he pays the income tax. A company earns a profit, company will pay the income tax. A partnership firm will do a business and earn the income, it will pay the income tax. A trust, based on some conditions, it earns the income, it will pay the income tax. This is the layman definition of income tax. If it was only this much, if income tax was only so much, there was no need for an act, there was no need for a statute, there was no need for a subject called law of taxation at all. If it was this simple, you know the income, so government will give some percentage of tax, you will compute the tax and over, half an hour process. Computation of income tax is a half an hour process. Even if I teach you how to compute income tax, every person will compute. Let us say I earn a salary of 10,000 rupees, 10,000, 10% is the tax, 10,000 into 10%, 1,000 rupees is the tax paid, simple, over. But this is not income tax. Before knowing income tax, what is income tax, you should know what income tax is not. What is not income tax? This is not income tax. Taxes paid on income earned by a person is not income tax. Because income earned means real income. Income earned stands for real income. Real income means what the person earns. I earn a salary of 5 lakh rupees. I'll call income earned is 5 lakh rupees. A businessman earns a profit of 20 lakh rupees. He says the income earned is 20 lakh rupees. A person does a sale, an apple merchant does a sale of apple wherein he sells apples for 1 lakh rupees. That 1 lakh rupees becomes his income earned. But that is not what is going to be taxed. For taxation purpose, we are going to refer something called as a taxable income. So Income Tax Act is all about finding out what is taxable income. Real income in the taxable income annu separate ಮಾಡಿ a taxable income annu find out ಮಾಡುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ? How much is the taxable income? What is taxable income? All these things are to be understood. For that purpose, we have something called as Income Tax Act. For that purpose, we have something called as Income Tax Act. For that purpose, we have to learn this entire course of income tax. So, what is taxable income is to be understood. When I say real income and taxable income is nothing but income earned by a person. Income earned by a person. Whereas taxable income is income on which tax has to be paid. So now you understood two things, real income and taxable income. There are two concepts called as real income and taxable income. That is why the other day when I was speaking about income tax, some people were saying 2,50,000 rupees is exempt, sir. So what happens? See, you may have earned an income of 5 lakh rupees. You may have earned an income of 5 lakh rupees. Let us say Sushrut is aged. Sushrut is aged 23 years. Sushrut is aged 23 years and he has earned an income of 5 lakh rupees. This is the income earned, real income. This is real income. Whereas when it comes to income tax, this is not taxable income. Because somewhere in the Income Tax Act, it is said that income up to 2,50,000 need not be taxed. Income up to 2,50,000, we call this as basic exemption limit. Income up to 2,50,000 need not be taxed. So this came us due this we understood this point with the help of Income Tax Act. Now what happened? Balance 2,50,000 is to be taxed. So real income was 5 lakh rupees, whereas taxable income is only 2,50,000 rupees. Taxable income is only 2,50,000 rupees. How did you come to know? With the help of Income Tax Act. This is the difference between real income and taxable income. This is the difference between real income and taxable income. So again, Sushrut saves around 50,000 on LIC. Sushrut invests in LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, or any other insurance company. Now what Income Tax Act says under Section 80C? Under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act, if you have invested amount in Life Insurance Corporation, such investment can be deducted, can be reduced. Such amount can be reduced. Again, real income was 5 lakh rupees. Now taxable income is 2 lakh rupees. Taxable income came down to 2 lakh rupees. So I hope you are understanding the difference between real income and taxable income. Tell me yes if you are understanding this. I am trying to elaborate the difference between taxable income and real income. Are you understanding this? Say yes if you are understanding. Everybody, yes. Yes. Taxes paid on income is not income tax. First, we have to understand what is taxable income. For that purpose, we need Income Tax Act. There you are going to compute the taxable income. On that, tax will come. When I say this, real income and taxable income, what do you feel? Whether real income is greater than taxable income, or real income is equal to taxable income, or real income is less than taxable income? I have given you three scenarios. What is the possible scenario? Real income greater than taxable income. Real income equal to taxable income. Real income less than taxable income. Oh, which scenario is correct? Sushrut says real income is greater than taxable income because we understood here. I will give you one more example. Ajit purchases a lottery worth 1 lakh rupees. A lottery ticket worth 1 lakh rupees. And he wins lottery worth 1 lakh rupees. He wins lottery worth 1 lakh rupees. As per Income Tax Act, entire winning of 1 lakh rupees is subjected to tax. In this scenario, whether real income is greater than taxable income, or real income is equal to taxable income, or real income is less than taxable income, what do you feel? One second. That presentation is gone. I guess. Okay. So I gave a scenario where a person purchases, Ajit purchases a lottery of 1 lakh rupees. So here you said 5 lakh rupees was the real income, taxable income, agreed. So over. Second scenario I am giving, case number 2 I am giving, lottery ticket worth 1 lakh rupees. Price 1 is 1 lakh rupees. Entire 1 lakh rupees is subject to tax. Here, whether real income is greater than taxable income, real income is less than taxable income, or real income is equal to taxable income in this scenario. What do you feel? Okay. So case 1 is understood. Case 1, real income is less than taxable income. Sorry, real income is greater than taxable income. Fine. Case 2, real income is equal to taxable income. So in some scenarios, real income can be equal to taxable income. Sir, another example if you want, I'll give you, sir. Land. You purchased the land for 1 lakh rupees. For example purpose, I am telling. You purchased the land for 1 lakh rupees. You sold it for 1,50,000 rupees. 50,000 whatever you have earned, you will be taxed. 50,000 whatever you have earned will be taxed. Again, a scenario where real income is equal to taxable income. What do you feel? The third scenario, whether it is possible. Real income is less than taxable income. That means it is saying your taxable income is more than what you have actually earned. Whether it is possible. What do you feel? Whether that scenario is possible. Two scenarios is proved. Okay, common sense. Any person with common sense will tell, yes, these two scenarios are possible. Third scenario I am asking, you have earned less income, but you are paying tax for more income. I am asking a scenario where real income is less than taxable income. That means you are paying, that means literally what I am telling is your real income is 3 lakh rupees, whereas you are paying tax for 5 lakh rupees, whether it is possible. Whether it is possible. What do you feel? Not possible. Okay. Let us say Ramesh is a director in the company who earns, Ramesh is a director in the company who earns, or I'll just change the amount slightly, okay, here. I'll just slightly change the amount. 3,60,000, let us, 3,60,000. So Ramesh is a director in a company who earns 30,000 rupees salary per month. 30,000 rupees as salary per month. Great. I come to Ramesh and ask Ramesh, ನಿಮ್ಮ salary ಎಷ್ಟು? Sir, pay slip, ನನ್ನ paycheck ನೋಡಿ sir, my paycheck says 30,000 rupees is my salary. Great. I'll ask, how did you come to the company, Ramesh? How did you come to the company? Sir, I came to the company by car. Very good. Whether the car is of your own, do this car belong to you? No, this belongs to company. So company has given a car to Ramesh. Company has given a car to Ramesh. Okay, fine. Whether did you drive the car on your own? No, sir. There was a driver appointed by the office. There is a driver appointed by the company. Very good. So driver by the company. Okay, where do you live, Ramesh? Sir, I live at flat provided by the company, sir. Flat has given me a residence and I am residing at that place. Very good. Flat is also provided by company. How about cooking and all? Do you cook on your own? Your family and all are there. Whether your wife cooks, or wife may be going for some job, or who cooks? Sir, of course, sir, company has given me servants. Company has given me some servants. Wow, very good. How about your children, Ramesh? What do they do? They go to school, sir. Okay. So you might be paying a very good fees. And no, sir, my company is very much generous. My company pays the fees of my children. So children's fees is also paid by company. So Ramesh is getting something beyond 30,000 rupees in the form of different incentives. Now Income Tax Act says even these things which are not in the form of income will be considered as income, will be deemed as income, Let us say the value of all these things amounts to 1,40,000 rupees. Now actually what is the salary of Ramesh? 3,60,000 earned in the form of 30,000, 1,40,000 in the form of all these facilities given to him. That is why real income and taxable income, when you compare, real income can be less than the taxable income. It is not always true that real income is less than taxable income. Sorry, real income is greater than taxable income. A real income can be greater than taxable income. A real income can be equal to taxable income. A real income can be less than taxable income. That is why the difference between the real income and taxable income is very important. That is not important for us for the purpose of income tax. Income Tax Act income that is important for us. If you go and check the income definition, income tax says so many things are income for you. I'll just show you. So many things are income for the purpose of income tax system. So many things. There is a list here given. That list is not clearly visible. I'll show you one by one items later on when at the point of right time of discussions. Up to W points are there. A to W. That means 21 items are there which will be called as income for the purpose of income tax. And this will constitute tax. Even these are not taxable income. There are ways to compute. When I say a car, not the value of the car, there is a way to compute the income from car. When I say a driver, there is a way to compute. When I say servants, there is a way to compute. That is what income tax is all about, and that is what we need to discuss in the income tax. If it was simple, income earn madidra mele tax kattuvanthadu agtidre, income tax would be a half an hour deal. But this is not that way. Here there are a lot of things to be learned. And you need to understand how to compute the taxable income. Only then you will be understanding the entire concepts of income tax. So income tax entire act has two parts. One is the procedural part or compliance part. That means your filing of income tax or income tax department, assessments, all these things. The main part is income tax itself, income and income tax. What constitutes income and how tax is to be computed. So tell me yes if you have understood the difference between the real income and taxable income. We are going beyond the statute to understand how we can get into the statute step by step. How we can get into the statute step by step. Yes. Earned. While understanding income earned, we differentiated two things. We said, one, the actual income which is earned by a person. Actual income. Actual income means what? Whatever comes to him as income, maybe the money, maybe the cash received, or maybe something else in a year. And we compared it with something called as taxable income. So taxable income is what we are subjecting to tax. Now to find out the taxable income, we have something called as Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act tells us what is to be considered as taxable income. So while you read Income Tax Act, you come to know that sometimes the real income can be less than the taxable income. Maybe 5% of your cases. Out of total 100%, 5% of the cases may be like real income is less than taxable income. I gave you the example of salary. Or there are chances where real income is equal to taxable income. Lottery tickets, whatever examples I give. You cannot deduct anything. Lottery ticket, you won 1 lakh rupees, you are going to pay tax on 1 lakh rupees. So real income is equal to taxable income. You sold a land, you earned a profit of 40,000 rupees, you are going to pay tax on 40,000 rupees. Real income is equal to taxable income. There are many situations where real income is greater than taxable income. That means taxable income is less than the real income. For all these purpose, to understand these scenarios, we need something called as Income Tax Act. So, first thing is clarified, taxes paid on income tax is wrong. Taxes paid on taxable income. Second comes by a person, income earned by a person. So is it the person who is going to tax, or is it the person who will be subject to tax? While we understand, we need to understand two things. One is a person. The second one is assessee. Always it is not the person who is going to pay the tax. It is not essential that the person who earns the money should pay the tax. It is not essential that the person who is working should pay the tax. There are certain scenarios where others also will be paying the tax. For example, let us say you are a minor child within the age of 18, below the age of 18, and you earn some income. You are a person, of course. You earn an income. The thing is, this income which you have earned will be taxed in the hands of your parents. Will be taxed in the hands of your parents. That is why person and SSC are different things when it comes to income tax. SSC is a person. Definition, when I say SSC is a person in the health, but it is not always true that person will be treated as SSC. In some cases, there will be something called as a representative SSC, where person and SSC are two different things. I said you minor. Minor case alli person yaru income earn ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಯಾರು minor, but tax ಆಗುವುದು ಯಾರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ? SSC ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ. His some of maybe his parent or guardian. Foreign SSC, we have something called as foreign persons who are residing in foreign countries. For them in India, we have something called as a representative SSC who will be representing them in India. Again, for them also, income is earned by that person, whereas you are going to question, income tax department is going to question the assessee. So this is again the difference. We understood difference between income earned and taxable income. We understood the difference between person and assessee. For income tax purpose, person is not important. For income tax purpose, assessee is important. Assessee, when he pays the tax, he will be questioned. Assessee, when he doesn't pay the tax, he will be questioned. Assessee, if he doesn't pay the tax, if penalty has been levied, he will be questioned. So everywhere, assessee is important for the purpose of income tax. Assessee is the person responsible for the purpose of income tax. Okay. Third question. After understanding these two things, we need to go for the third area, where I have a question for you. Tell me when we need to pay the tax. Immediately after earning the income, should we pay the tax? Or the next year of earning the income, should we pay the tax? Or in advance, should we pay the tax? Before earning the income, whether it is before earning, at the time of earning, or whether it is after earning the income. When should we pay the tax? Of course, a layman, if you ask, if you ask any layman, he will say, sir, we earned income this year. We will know how much income we have earned. Next year, we'll be paying the tax for this. Perfect. So for this discussion, I'll be dividing the years into 3 categories or 2 categories. Maybe let us divide it like this. And before that, for income tax purpose, whether the year starts from January to December or April to March. For the purpose of income tax, whether the year starts from January to December or April to March. This is called as calendar year, and this is called as financial year. Yeah, my question was, which year should I choose? Calendar year or financial year? For the purpose of income tax, whether it is January to December or April to March. Yes. See, as per the accounting policies, as per the country's accounting norms, accounting year or financial year starts from April and ends to March. That is, if I say for the year 2020, financial year starts from April 2020 and ends in March 2021. Ends in March 2021. Ends in March 2021. So this is financial year. Normally we call this as financial year 2021, just like your academic year. In your college, what you learn as academic year, same thing for finance purpose, we call it as financial year 2021. So if I say 1920, financial year 1920, which is the, when I say financial year 1920, it means April 2020 to March 2021. When I say financial year 1920, it means April 2019 to March 2020. When I say financial year 21-22, it means April 2021 to March 2022. So this is financial year. For the purpose of income tax, we consider financial year rather than the calendar year. Even Companies Act, as per New Companies Act 2013, earlier when it was 1956, there was no such restriction that companies should follow only April to March. But after Companies Act 2013, it has been made mandatory that all the Indian companies should comply with April to March deadline. That should be their accounting year or financial year. Same thing applies for Income Tax Act also. So when I say year 2021, I'll write 2 years, 22, 3 years are written. That means this period where you earn the income, this period will be for earning the income. It starts from April, it ends in March. So the financial year is 2021. Financial year is 2021. So you are earning the income, different sources you are earning the income here. Maybe you may earn salary, you may earn rent from your houses, you may earn some business profits, you may do some practice and you may earn a lot of income, or you may get a lottery ticket, you may get interest in bank deposits, you may get different sorts of subsidies, government subsidies, whatsoever it is. So in this year full of work and you earn the income, as you said, this income will be subject to tax in the next year. This income will be subject to tax in the next year. That is why the year in which you are going to subject to tax is called as assessment year. The year in which you are going to pay the tax or calculate the tax is called as assessment year. I repeat, income is earned and the next year of earning the income, you are going to pay the tax. That year in which you are going to compute and pay the tax is called as assessment year. Then what should be this one? Of course, the year which is previous to assessment year is called as previous year. Even in the income tax, you call this as previous year. Previous year is the year in which you are going to earn the income. Assessment year is the year on which you are going to compute and pay the tax on such income. Tax on such income. So previous year, you are going to earn your income. All the income will be generated in the previous year. The income which is earned in the previous year is subject to tax in the assessment year. So if I say previous year 2019-20, what is the assessment year? When I say previous year is 2019-20, what is the assessment year? When I say previous year is previous year 19-20, what should be the assessment year? Yes, all are telling it rightly, 2021. When I say previous year is 2022-23, what is the assessment year? Previous year is 2022-23. What is the assessment year? 23-24. Very good. 23-24. 23-24 means April 2023 to March 2024. Within this period, you need to pay the tax for income earned in 2022-23. If I say assessment year is 2018-19, what is the previous year? If I say assessment year is 2018-19, what is the previous year? Very good, 2017-18. 2017-18. So you need to understand, tomorrow when you go and see the income tax return upside, they will normally put the next year, last year's income tax, whatever you're going to file now. Recently, due dates were extended to December and all. If you see the newspaper, if you have the good habit of reading the newspaper, you might have seen deadlines of income tax have been extended to December 2020. Now tell me, which year's income, for which year's income are we going to file the income tax and pay the tax? When I say deadline for income tax return is extended to December 2020, which year's tax are you paying now? Which years? Very good. You are paying 19-20, the completed financial year. Which is the completed financial year? April 2019 to March 2020 is the completed financial year for which you are going to pay the tax now, for which you are going to submit your returns now. So previous year is very free. In previous year, you are not going to do anything. Previous year, you are going to earn the income. Silently sit and earn the income. In the assessment year, you need to compute the tax. You need to compute the tax. Compute tax. You need to pay the tax. You need to pay the tax. You need to submit returns. So these are very different things. These are very different things. Computation of tax, payment of tax, submission of returns. Sir, what is computation of tax? You will put together all the sources of the income. You will put together and you will make a computation. You will see what is my taxable income. Your real income may be different now. It is this period in the assessment year, you will analyze what is your taxable income. You will see how much tax should be paid, what is the exemption, and what are the facilities, benefits available. And after that, you are going to pay the tax. So computation of tax happens in the assessment year. Once you compute, you should not sit silent. Compute ಮಾಡಿ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಲ್ಲ. You need to pay to the government. How will you pay, sir? Options are available. You can go and deposit in the bank. You will get some challan. Bank over the counter bank ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ tax deposit ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಚಲನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. Or online payments. Nowadays, all are preferring online payments. Online payments ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು tax pay ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Okay. So computation of tax is over. Payment of tax is over. Two different things are over. Now, after payment of tax, you need to tell to the government on what basis did you pay the tax? How did you compute your income? What and all sources did you consider? All these things, a report card has to be submitted to the government. That is called as income tax returns. That is called as income tax returns. Income tax returns can be of very different formats. If you are earning only salary income, they'll say only file ITR 1, income tax return 1. If you are having a house property income, they say ITR 2 you file. If you have business income, they say ITR 3 you file. If you are a small business who doesn't maintain any books of accounts and all, they say go and file ITR 4. Like this, there are up to ITR 7. Different ITRs are there. So these ITRs will be nothing but a report card, a computation which you are submitting to the department and telling that, see, this is how I computed the tax. This is how we computed the tax. After this, the department will take up your cases. After this much procedure, so in the assessment year, you are reporting. You are given all the chance to report your income to the government. Once you report, see, for reporting also there will be something called as due date. There will be something called as due date. For payment of tax and for reporting, there will be something called as due date. Within due date, if you do it, you will be free of penalty. Otherwise, you need to pay some penalty. If you delay, you need to pay some penalty. There are different penalties for different occasions. For delay in payment of tax, you need to pay some interest, maybe at 1% per month or something. If it is delay in filing the returns, for certain limit of income, you need to pay 1,000 rupees penalty. Then it goes to 5,000, 10,000. Like this, penalty increases. So in assessment year, 3 things you are going to do: compute the tax liability, pay the tax, and submit your returns. This is the basic procedure of income tax. But think about a scenario. All the person will be earning the income in the previous year, but depositing with the government the tax income in the next year. That means in the year of earning the income, government will not have much revenue. And at the same time, what government says is, see, of course, by the mid of the year or maybe by the first quarter of your financial year, you will come to know what is your quarterly income, based on which you can predict your future income also. So government says, instead of waiting for the assessment year to come, in the previous year itself, make an estimation. Based on our estimation, pay us advance tax. Basic concept of income tax is payment of tax in the assessment year. But government says, because government also wants to have some revenue, periodical revenue. And at the same time, government also says, see, anyhow you are going to pay next year. Why don't you pay this year itself? Make some computation. Based on your computation, pay us some advance tax. Okay. There is one more thing. Advance tax is one concept. There is one more thing. What happens? Government also uses its brain. Government makes another plan. Government says, you are going to, let us say you are lawyer, you are an advocate, you are going to give a service to the company. Okay. There is a chance that you may escape the tax by not showing the income. So it makes rules. It says to the company, instead of you, it says to the company, see, I don't know about him. I'm not bothered about him. But if you are paying to him for any services he has rendered, or if you are paying to him for any other things, maybe for profession, maybe for rent, maybe for purchase of land, anything, it is your duty. See, I'm telling from company's perspective. Let us say Sushruth is the lawyer, company he is here. Sushruth is giving service to company. Company has to make payment to Sushruth. Now, government is telling company, see, this person is an assessee for me. I know he gives service to you. Now, I will impose a duty on you. What you have to do is, if you are paying something to him, if you are going to pay something to him, deduct this much % of tax to me. Let us say 2% tax or 10% of the amount which you are going to pay. If company has to pay 10 lakh rupees to Sushruth, What government is saying is, out of 10 lakh, you deduct 1 lakh rupees and pay him 9 lakh rupees only. This 1 lakh rupees you deposit with the government. You deposit with the government in Sushrut's name. That means government is telling the source of the income to deduct the tax and then to make the payment. This is called as tax deduction at source. Simply it is called as TDS. So, two ways of collecting the tax other than assessment year. Assessment year, it is self-assessment, self-declaration of tax. You are going to pay self-payment of tax. Before that only government will collect the tax. How? In the form of advance tax, asking you to pay tax in advance. If advance tax paid is more, sir, what will happen? Of course, government will give you back with interest of 0.5% per month. Government will collect, if you delay the payment of tax, government will collect 1%. But if government has collected advance, it will give you 0.5% interest. It will give you 0.5% interest. Okay, fine. Another plan government has made. What is it? Whosoever makes the payment to some parties, government says, deduct the tax there itself. Wherever the source of income is generated, deduct the tax there. Because I know that person may escape. Tomorrow if he escapes, see, normally what happens is, normally the general practice is, when interest comes from bank and all, FD, societies and all, interest comes, normally people won't show it as income. People will ignore and they will not show this as income. Government will not come to know. Sometimes. Now what government has made a plan is, government has directed all the banks, compulsory, banks have to deduct the TDS. Banks have to deduct the TDS. Otherwise they will be punished. Otherwise they will be punished with the help of income tax rules. So banks will deduct the TDS and tell to the government, see, for this person, this much interest is there and we have deducted TDS. Tomorrow, if you don't declare the interest, government will come and ask you, see, this person has said us that he has paid you so much interest. Why didn't you show it in your return? Why didn't you pay tax for that? This is what happens. This is why TDS is very important. So government has made up a plan where advance tax is collected or TDS will be collected in your name. And finally, after considering your advance tax and TDS, if in the assessment year you need to pay something more, you will pay to the government. Or if something is more paid in your name, you can claim back as refund. You have to claim back as refund. You have to tell to the government in the form of returns, sir, my income is only so much, plus I have something savings. So my refund should be so much. Please give me back my money. Please give me back my money. This is the procedure of income tax. So it started from taxable income. You have to compute the taxable income. Once taxable income is computed, of course, a percentage tax will be levied. So tax computation will happen. Once tax computation will happen, once tax computation will happen, in the assessment year, you need to pay self-assessment tax. In the previous years, you may have to pay, based on the situations, you may have to pay advance tax. Or if someone is making payment to you, they will deduct the tax on your behalf. After considering all these things, you will see how much excess tax is to be paid. If excess tax is already paid to the government, you will claim the refund. Or if something more has to be paid on your behalf, you will pay to the government. Then you will tell to the government that I computed such and such type of income. For that purpose, you will file something called as income tax returns. For that purpose, we will file something called as income tax returns. Income tax returns. This is the entire all in all procedural aspects of income tax. Procedural aspect of income tax, which is very important for practical life. Tomorrow you are going to do this. And one more thing you need to know, you need not depend on anyone to do this. You can do self on your own. You can do this. Simple income tax returns and all you can do on your own. If it is like slightly complicated, now you're tax students, so of course you should know the tax laws and all. Once we come across all the things, you should know the tax laws and all. So I think so you too have the capacity to file the income tax returns, maybe of you yourself or of any of your friends and something like that. So this is all about income tax and income tax procedures. So we came to an understanding that real income and taxable income are very different for us. Since it is different, we need to understand how to compute the taxable income. For that, we are going to learn the Income Tax Act. For that purpose, we need to understand the Income Tax Act. So with this, I think so the introductory session is very sufficient for us. In the next classes, we'll be seeing the definition of income. What is to be called as income, and all other miscellaneous, all other heads of income. Normally, so even that part I'll include in the introduction only. The income which is earned by person, normally a layman can earn in the form of salary. Income from salary. The second source of income is letting out the house property. We call it as income from house property. Income from house property. The third and important source is profession, business. Like you and me, we are doing profession. Or the person, maybe a Reliance Mart or maybe Big Bazaar, they are doing business. So, business, profits or gains from PGBP, we call it as profits or gains from business or profession. Then many times what you will do, you will have something called as capital assets. Your building, your land, your motor vehicles or machineries, jewelries. There are exceptions also, some exceptions also. So all these things you will sell. So when you earn profit there, if you earn profit there, it is called as capital gains. Other than these heads, if at all any income is earned, maybe gambling, horse race, lottery, or maybe interest from bank, interest income, commission, whatsoever you name, you will call it as other incomes. These are the 5 important heads of income. So taxable income is to be categorized into these specific categories based on the rules given in the Income Tax Act. So with this, the basic introduction part is over. So I hope that should be sufficient. Tomorrow I'll be discussing exclusively on income definition. Entire income definition will be discussed tomorrow in the next class. So what you need to do is, you need to go and refer section 4 of the Income Tax Act. You need to go and check section 4 and try to understand the BEAR Act, because I stress the importance of BEAR Act at times. Since you are law students, your answers should be in the legal language. So try to understand section 4 of the Income Tax Act. That is your homework for the day. I hope today's class you are comfortable with. You have understood each and everything. In case of any doubts, feel free to raise.